Let's take a look at what happens when we multiply two linear binomials. And this happens when the two linear binomials are either in one variable or in two variables but the same variable. As an example, let's multiply 2x minus 3 times x plus 2. And we're going to use the rectangle method and also the FOIL shortcut just to help us look at what this looks like. FOIL first. Right, we have 2x minus 3 times x plus 2. Right, first terms, that'll be 2x squared. Outer, 4x. Inner, minus 3x. Last, minus 6. And then combining like terms, 2x squared plus x minus 6. Okay, something happened there. Let's see what that looks like in the rectangle method. We'll multiply 2x minus 3 times x plus 2. X times 2x is 2x squared. X times negative 3 is negative 3x. 2 times 2x is 4x. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. And so again, we get 2x squared plus x minus 6. And the thing that we notice is that in either method, we combine like terms in the middle term. Previously, we've had 4 terms, and we've used grouping to factor. Now we have 3 terms. In order to use grouping to factor, we need to somehow uncombine those middle terms. And here's a neat thing that will help us do that. Notice that this is easiest to see in the rectangle. To get our middle terms, we took negative 3 times x, and we took 2x times 2. If we multiply our first and last terms, we'll take 2x times x times negative 3 times 2. And we notice that those are the same 4 factors. And so we observe that the middle terms, the ones we combine, have the same product as the first and last terms. Why does that matter? Well, that gives us a method we can use to uncombine our middle terms. To factor a quadratic trinomial, we will first multiply the coefficients of the first and last terms. And then we'll find two numbers that have the same product and whose sum is the coefficient of the middle term. We can then split up the middle term as that sum, giving us a polynomial with 4 terms. And we already know how to factor a polynomial with 4 terms as the product of 2 binomials. That's just the grouping method. Now, the reason we call this the AC method is that if we write our trinomial as ax squared plus bx plus c, or we might say ax squared plus bxy plus cy squared. This method works for either quadratic trinomials in one variable or homogeneous quadratic trinomials. Then the two numbers that we're looking for have product a times c and sum b. So we call this the AC method because we multiply A times C in that form. Let's see how this works. Now this 2x squared plus x minus 6, this is the product that we got before. So we'd better get these two binomials when we factor. Let's see if that actually happens. So we're starting with 2x squared plus x minus 6. My AC is 2 times negative 6 is negative 12. I want to find two numbers that multiply to negative 12 and add up to positive 1, because my middle coefficient is positive 1. Now I want to get a negative product, so I'll have a negative number and a positive number. I want to get a positive sum, so the positive number will be bigger. So I'll say negative 12 is 12 times negative 1. 12 plus negative 1 is 11, not 1. Negative 12 is 6 times negative 2. 6 plus negative 2 is 4, not 1. Negative 12 is 4 times negative 3. 4 plus negative 3 is 1. Okay, so the two numbers I want are 4 and negative 3. So I'm going to rewrite my polynomial as 2x squared plus 4x minus 3x minus 6. And now that is something with 4 terms I can factor by grouping. So 2x squared plus 4x minus 3x minus 6. And then the greatest common factor of my first row will be a 2x. 2x times what gives me 2x squared? I'll need an x here. 2x times what gives me positive 4x? I'll need a positive 2 here. X times what gives me negative 3x? I'll need a negative 3 here. And then negative 3 times positive 2 does give me negative 6. I've gotten back my 2x minus 3 times x plus 2. So we use the AC method to uncombine the like terms in the middle. Let's see another example now where we don't already know what the answer is. Here we have the polynomial 6x squared minus 11xy plus 3y squared. My AC is 6 times 3 is 18, and my B is negative 11. So I want two numbers whose product is positive 18. So I want numbers with the same sign. Their sum is negative 11, so I want them both to be negative. So 18 is negative 18 times negative 1. Negative 18 plus negative 1 is negative 19. That wasn't what I wanted. 18 is negative 9 times negative 2. Negative 9 plus negative 2 is negative 11. Those are the two numbers I wanted, negative 9 and negative 2. So I'm going to split up my middle term as negative 9xy minus 2xy. And so when I factor by grouping, my first and last terms are 6x squared and 3y squared. And then my middle term splits up as negative 9xy and negative 2xy. In my first row, my greatest common factor is a 3x. 3x times what gives me 6x squared? Well, that's going to be a 2x. 3x times what gives me negative 9xy? That's going to be a negative 3y. 2x times what gives me negative 2xy? That's going to be a negative y. Negative y times negative 3y, that is positive 3y squared. And so my 6x squared minus 11xy plus 3y squared factors as 3x minus y times 2x minus 3y.